Have you ever noticed that the people that you probably admire most seem to have an not just an aversion to fear, but like they don't feel it, they don't sense it, it doesn't bother them. And that's maybe what draws you to them, because you're like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could go on camera. I wish I could start a business. I wish I could leave my relationship. I wish I could go and chat up the girl. I wish I could run the country. I wish I could play that sports. I wish I could go up that mountain. I wish I could dive in a plunge pool. I wish I could blah, 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 blah. Whatever you see somebody else doing, it's like they haven't got the fear that you have. And in this video, I'm going to help you to understand how a lot of them do what they do. Those people that inspire you, how they do what they do, even though I don't know where I was going with that bit. That's what I'm going to help you understand. And it's what I do with myself and my clients. It's how we constantly upgrade and go on what I call, you've heard me say before, the upward spiral in life. So you just keep moving forwards. Everything keeps getting better for you rather than peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs. And most of the time it's to do with this overcoming fear. Or as Susan Jeffers likes to say, feel the fear and do it anyway. And there's a few things you can do in your mind in terms of rationalizing it. So you can imagine worst case scenario. This is one of the exercises you can do if you're feeling fear in a certain situation. Is you can imagine worst case scenario, play it out in your head, worst case scenario, and then kind of laugh it off, because worst case scenario, the chance of it happening are very, very slim and none. That's one thing that you can do. Okay. However, we need to go deeper, okay? Because if you do it for one, let's say you, for example, like yesterday, I dived into a plunge pool, like on the side of a mountain. You got a stream running down, then it goes off like over a waterfall into a pool area. And I've never been in a plunge pool before, never, ever, ever. Been in a lake, been in a river, been in obviously swimming pool and seas, but never in a plunge pool. Okay, so I had all these fears coming up when the person I was with was just like, right, we're going in. You said you wanted to go in. It's on your bucket list. Let's go do it. Let's go jump in. And then all these fears came up. But I know how to work through fear, and like I was in like very, very quickly. So let's take that example. Let's say you're about to dive into a plunge pool, okay? You can't see the bottom. You don't know what's in it. You see water going into it, and you see like water in there, and you see water running out, but you don't know what's going in. And I say to you, go on, go jump in the plunge pool. And you might be like, and all these fears might come up, right? So imagine worst case scenario. Oh, if I jump in, I could break my leg. Imagine that worst case scenario. Chance of that happening? Slim and none, because you're probably not just going to go and jump in willy-nilly without kind of checking the depth of stuff, right? So then you go, okay, chance of that happening, very slim and none, so I'm going to go and check it out. What's another fear? Another fear, another fear. And you just keep going through those fears, and you can rationalize it and go, okay, cool, until you've quashed all the fears, and then you go, right, I'm going to go in. But then let's say you've got another scenario, and you see someone that's really, really good looking, really attractive, and you're like, oh, I'd love to go and chat to them. I'd love to go and ask them out on a date. I'd love to ask them for their number. I'd love to just give them a compliment. So then you go through worst case scenario. You're like, okay, worst case scenario. She laughs at me. She says you're like pervert and you're a creep, and she like then starts like shouting about you in the street and then taking pictures and put it on social media. And again, you can go, right, chance of that actually happening, slim to none, because there's never really any recorded evidence ever of a girl actually doing that ever to a guy, like ever. So you're like, okay, worst case scenario probably won't happen. So I'm going to go up and start the interaction. Say, hey, my name's whatever your name is, introduce yourself, and kind of go through from there. But then you got another scenario and another scenario. So it takes a lot of energy to constantly do this, imagining worst case scenario, imagining worst case scenario, imagining worst case scenario. It takes a lot of energy. And there's a few other surface level strategies and tactics that you can do when you feel fear to do it anyway, right? Or we go deeper. We go to the root cause of your fear. And the root cause of most people's fear is rooted in, like I said, it's rooted in something like you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to feel lonely. You don't want to feel worthless. You don't want to feel not good enough. There's some underlying thing that you don't want to feel. There's some feeling that you're scared of feeling. So the way to overcome fear, full stop, is to confront your biggest fear. Doesn't mean you have to go out and do it. You could sit in your room, you could sit in your meditation space, you can go out where in your car, you can like go for a walk, but you need to be with you, and that root, that deepest fear, that thing that you're really scared of feeling, and you need to be a space for that feeling so that the feeling no longer intimidates you and you become bigger than that feeling. So let's say you want to go and talk to the girl. She's good looking, attractive, she's got great energy, and you're like, God, I want to go and talk to her. But then this fear of, I don't want to get rejected. I don't want to feel rejected. So you don't do it because you don't want to feel rejected, because you feel like, or you believe, you're telling yourself the story that the pain of rejection is too big for you to handle and you won't be able to handle it. So you don't do it because you don't want to feel this feeling. Now, if you can generate that feeling and be the space for that feeling and see and feel and know and understand and believe and experience the fact that the feeling isn't bigger than you, that you can be a safe space for that part of you that doesn't like feeling it, and you can let it feel it, and you can be the space for it, and you can feel it fully, you will then see that you are bigger than that feeling, and then you no longer fear feeling that feeling. And this is something that you kind of have to do to experience it, to understand what I'm going on about. There'll be a few people watching that have gone, oh yeah, I get that. That's absolutely spot on. I need to do that. So I'm going to go and sit with this feeling of rejection. I'm going to sit with this feeling of being abandoned. I'm going to sit with this feeling of not feeling good enough. I'm going to sit with this feeling of feeling worthless, useless. A lot of people are scared to feel that way, so they try and prove themselves to the outside world to run away from this feeling of not feeling good enough, or feeling worthless, or not feeling of value. So they go and try and prove themselves to then get approval and validation from the world. So it suppresses this underlying feeling of not good enough. They don't want to feel it, so they kind of try and push it away. Rather than facing it and being a space for it, they run away from it their whole lives. But ironically, what happens is the more we try and run away from something, the more it will chase us. What we resist persists, because it's there for our evolution, it's there for our growth. So if you fear rejection, what you'll do is you'll show up as a fake version of you to try and please people so you don't get rejected, but then they'll just end up rejecting you anyway because you're not true to you, and you coming across with this needy energy, and then they don't like that, so then reject anyway. So the thing that you feared feeling and try to do everything to stop yourself from feeling it actually comes to you and makes you feel it, and you're like, let me try and get a screen grab. I don't know if I can. That might do for the thumbnail. Thank you very much for sitting and watching that one. So, how to overcome any fear is to be a space for the feeling that you're trying to run away from by not doing the thing, saying the thing, being the person that you really want to do, say, or be. Because that's why you admire people, is because they're doing, saying, and being what they want to do, say, and be. And in fact, you might be actually hating some people purely because they're doing, saying, and being what they want to do, say, and be, and it's highlighting in you that you're not doing that. So you'll hate them for doing it to make yourself feel better and to justify you not doing it. That'll be painful for some people. Some people will stop watching at that point because that's too painful, and that's absolutely fine. But again, if you fear the truth about you, or you fear a perceived truth about you, be the space for that perceived truth, that truth that you think about you, that you're insecure, you're not good enough. Be the space for it. Don't be the feeling, be the space for the feeling, because something really magical happens when you're the space for the feeling, is that feeling almost gets dissolved in the space that you are, and you go, oh shit, I'm not the feeling. I'm not anxious. I'm not depressed. I'm not small. I'm not unworthy. I'm not undeserving. I'm not good enough. I'm the space and the awareness of all of those feelings. So if I'm the space and awareness of all those feelings, I'm not those feelings. I'm the space for those feelings. So now I can be the space for them, and now I've felt them, I no longer fear feeling them. So I'm going to go up to that girl who's really attractive and say, hey, my name's Matt, and I just wanted to say I think you're really, really attractive. I'd have kicked myself if I'd have not come over and said anything, and you'd have walked away. I'd have gone, ah. So I had to come over and say something. And you can stand there as a man in that space and be the space and wait patiently for the feedback, for the reaction, not fearing rejection. And standing in that is vulnerability and confidence. What are two attractive traits? Vulnerability, confidence. Are you more likely to get the number, get a date, have the experience go well? Not even go on to those stages, but actually have it just go well and all right. And her going, oh, thank you very much. It's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. The whole interaction would have gone really, really well if you do that. So then, because you are okay with feeling rejected, you're less likely to get rejected. And that applies to any situation that you fear. I just use that as an example, but it's, again, the form changes. So it could be going for a job interview, could be going up to the attractive girl, could be jumping in a plunge pool, could be starting a business, could be leaving a relationship. The form can shift, but the content is the same. You are vulnerable and you are confident because you don't fear feeling inferior, less than, not good enough, worthless, rejected. You're not scared of feeling those feelings. You don't run away from them. And you're more likely to get what you actually want in life, to be who you really want to be, to do what you really want to do, and have the experiences you really want to have. I really wanted to jump in that plunge pool. It happened because I know how to process fear very quickly. Very quickly. I have no problem telling anybody that they're attractive because I know how to, again, process that fear or the feelings very, very quickly. I know how to speak to millionaire and billionaire investors about potential business ideas because I know how to process the feeling of fear and rejection and humiliation. I know how to process all that stuff very, 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 very quickly. So if intuition says, hey, do this and ask this and say this, it's very, very quickly. It's almost automatic for me now. Just like these videos. There was a time when I was really overthinking it and fearing what people might think and might say and might do with my videos. But now I've learned how to process that fear. I literally just pop the camera on and hit start and we go. So there's no more fear. Or even if there is fear, I process it very, very quickly. It's what I teach my clients to do. That's how they fast track through life. That's how they get what they want, do what they want, be who they want to be, because we teach them how to process the fear. And one of the greatest things that we do, the best things, the best tactic, strategy, whatever you want to call it, that we do, is be a space to feel the thing we're trying to run away from, that we're scared of feeling. Allow yourself to do that first, then come at the world from that place, rather than trying to hide from it and run away from it and suppress it and do things that you don't ever feel, so you don't feel it. Whatever feeling it is that you don't want to feel, be the space for it. Life will go to the absolute next level and beyond, and it will just keep upward spiraling. That's what I've got for you today. Thank you very, very much for watching. Speak to you soon.